This is late edition. You just heard my exclusive interview with the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi. Now it's time to get the view from the other side of the aisle. Roy Blunt is the #2 Republican in the House of Representatives. He's with us here in Washington. Congressman, thanks very much for coming in.
Well, it's good to be here.
Let's go through point by point what she says. She says there are millions of acres out there offshore already available, not environmentally in danger. Why can't the oil companies still start drilling there without endangering the environment?
Well, you know, I really don't understand why the Speaker thinks this big area in Alaska is less environmentally endangered than using the drilling platform that was set aside in the ANWR. But that's only part of the issue. It's drilling there. It's looking at the deep water drilling. It's looking at oil shale in the Rockies. It's looking at all these alternatives. One of the things I was most interested in is suddenly the Speaker discovered the Senate in the last year. We repeatedly sent these good pro-American energy bills to the Senate for 10 years when they weren't popular. They're popular today, and the Senate repeatedly said no. We repeatedly said what we're saying right now. Let's go for more supply. Let's encourage energy and conservation. But she says there are plenty of offshore areas that are already open for the oil companies that they're not taking advantage. Yeah, this is not accurate, and I think every industry observer pointed out that this use it or lose it is just a canard. It's out there. It's not real. These companies have lots of money invested in the leases they have. As it turns out, every lease doesn't produce oil. If they did, Blitzer and Blunt could be oil men. All we'd have to do is get a lease, and suddenly you've found oil. Just because you've got a lease doesn't mean that you're going to be able to produce oil on that property, or you're going to be able to produce oil on every acre or gas on every acre of that property. I don't think that's a problem. I think the problem is, like in the deep water, we are the only country in the world that can drill in deep ocean water that doesn't do it. The Scandinavian countries do it. The Western European countries do it. There is no reason we shouldn't be out there.
She also says an immediate way to help American consumers is to release some of the oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. It's a dire situation right now. The reserve is almost full. Why not allow that to go forward?
Well, you know, what I like about that argument is that by making that argument, you're arguing that supply does matter. The very people that say you can't drill your way out of this problem are now the people that, in Nancy's case, the Speaker's case, are saying release money out of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Supply matters, but a short-term response isn't going to solve that problem.
But that would be available right away. The oil is already there.
It's available right away, but not for long.
But if you start drilling offshore, that could take 5 or 10 years to get that supply going.
What you do, Wolf, is you send a message to the global energy community that America is now going to go after its resources.
So do you think that you oppose releasing from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve?
I think it's a little part of this argument. I think it's not a big part of the argument. I think what you've got to realize here is by saying we should do that, you're really admitting that supply makes a difference. That means we should be going after real supply, not what we've been able to hoard away, hoping that our people that don't like us very well in the Middle East or Venezuela stop selling this oil, and that would be our backstop.
She's not going to let the vote come up, a vote to allow offshore oil drilling in what earlier had been these environmentally protected areas off the coast of Florida and California, for example. There's nothing you can do about that. She's the Speaker of the House.
She is the Speaker of the House, and she's going to have to live with that decision. That decision does not make sense to the American people. And let's be sure we know, when we're talking about offshore, we're talking about 50, 100, 200 miles offshore. Nobody's going to see that. This is an environmentally safe thing to do, and it goes back to the politics of the 60s when drilling offshore may have had some environmental danger rather than the reality of this century.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Republican governor of California, he opposes it as well.
It is all California politics. I don't care who's taking that position. It has no essence in reality. If there was ever a test of this system, it's in the one place where we do drill, which is the Gulf. 4,000 platforms in the Gulf. Thank God we've got them. 238 of them were injured by either Katrina or Rita. There was really no oil loss of any appreciable kind at any of those. Less oil was lost than used to seep up out of the Gulf floor.
She wants a $50 billion second economic stimulus package right now that she thinks would help American consumers, help the overall economy. You work closely with her, the president worked closely with her in getting that first economic stimulus package passed. Henry Paulson, we just heard him say, the Treasury Secretary, that's helped. Why not a second one?
Well, it has to be significant, it has to be stimulative, and it has to happen in a hurry if it's going to have any impact. Let's see what they bring to the table.
So you're open-minded?
I'm open-minded on it, but let's see if it's something the President could be for, the Secretary of the Treasury could be for, before we decide whether it's just a political discussion or really trying to do something that helps the economy. If they bring things to the table they know the President's not going to do, that has very little to do with stimulating the economy. It's all about a political discussion between now and the election.
Yesterday, in the magazine Der Spiegel, the German magazine, the Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki, he said, he was quoted as saying, U.S. presidential candidate Barack Obama talks about 16 months. That, we think, would be the right time frame for a withdrawal with the possibility of slight changes. Now, later, one of the spokesmen said that's not exactly what he meant to say, but it seemed to have pulled the rug out of John McCain, who's been a strong opponent of any timetable. The president has been a strong opponent of any timetable. But now the democratically elected prime minister of Iraq seems to be siding with Senator Obama. What do you make of this?
Well, you know what I think is most interesting about that is that Americans think it matters what Prime Minister Maliki is saying, because a year ago they didn't. The policies that we're pursuing now that have stabilized this government, that really are proving to the world it has a future, are the reason that these comments make any difference at all. If he just said that a year ago, everybody said that government's not going to last, it doesn't matter what Maliki thinks. The very policies that have stabilized that government make any comment he makes at least meaningful. Clearly, the situation on the ground at the time should decide this, not some
Although
date
even
set
the White
in
House
future.
is now talking about a general time horizon.
Sure. And why not? That's exactly what we thought a year ago when Barack Obama and Speaker Pelosi and others were opposing the policies that now let that look like it might be able to happen with a stable Iraq. Iraq is central to the problem we face in the Middle East right now. A big loss in Iraq is a huge loss because of where it is. A win in the loss with a stabilized Iraqi government is a huge win for the future of what can happen in a place where our enemies could take over, or the right kinds of things can happen. And Maliki's comments indicate that suddenly we've got a stronger government there. I wonder how that happened. I was also interested that Barack Obama, who's back and forth on this issue, announced what his position was going to be before he went on his fact-finding mission. Now his mission is a prove I'm right mission rather than a real fact-finding mission.
Roy Blunt is the #2 Republican in the House. Congressman, thanks for coming in.
Good to be with you. Thanks for letting me come by.